It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Virginia Tech lacrosse coach, John Sung. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
That's wonderful. Can you talk about your coaching experience and how you got started?
Yeah, I've been coaching for a pretty long time. I started in 96, coaching high school lacrosse in Birmingham, Michigan at Birmingham Seahome. From there, I went to the University of Michigan and coached there for a couple of years as an assistant. After that, I started got my first head coaching job at Adrian College, which is a small Division III school in Michigan. From there, I moved to Winthrop University, which is in the Big South in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And then from there, I ended up here at Virginia Tech.
Can you talk about your experience at Oakland University, I'm sorry?
Oh, yeah. So at Oakland University, I was a part of, I think it's been pretty interesting in my career. I've been a part of a lot of startups. And that was a program that definitely was a startup my first year as a freshman. They started a lacrosse program, and it just happened to be that's what I was there, and not necessarily thinking that I was going to continue my playing career. After high school, I had recruitment abilities to go elsewhere, but I decided to stay home and be a little bit closer to home. And then next thing I know, I'm playing lacrosse there at Oakland University. Started as a freshman there and had a great career. And that kind of led me into coaching. A lot of people found out that I was home. So a lot of high schools came calling. They're always in need of a good high school coach. So I had the ability to be a part of a program that I think in Birmingham, which was kind of a big stable in the state of Michigan. They were winning championships. They had a really good run on the men's side. And then, as I was coaching with the boys team, I was approached by the girls team to come and coach them. And that's kind of how that all started in 1997. It's crazy to think it's been that long, but that's when it all kind of first started. And I've watched the game change, and I've watched, a lot of great things happen in the sport of lacrosse. But that's kind of my career up at Oakland University.
Can you talk about your time at Michigan University?
Yeah. So when I was at Michigan was kind of very similar with, they decided at that point that they wanted to start their program also. So we were in a process with the University of Michigan of pushing that program from what they would call a varsity club status to a varsity program. So from to a Division I program. And so I was part of that building process in getting kind of the groundwork, moved in there, and obviously had the ability to be. I was an assistant coach there for a while, and we had a lot of great runs. With Michigan going into the national championship game at that level to Final Fours, and really had a great run, and obviously helped elevate that program to getting that national recognition, and soon enough that program flipped to becoming varsity. The men's coach that was there on the other side while I was there, JP, he was he ended up becoming the men's coach. While there was kind of a year or two where I had an opportunity to go be a head coach at a Division III school, and I had been an assistant for so long. So I guess at Birmingham and at the University of Michigan, I was an assistant coach, and that was from 97 to I think 2000. 10, something like that is when I was an assistant. And then when I finally had an opportunity to take over a program, I decided to do it. It was time to spread my wings and see if I could do it. And it was, so that's kind of how that all started. But Michigan was a great time. It was obviously, I'm from the state of Michigan. So being able to work at that university, I think was a really great opportunity, and I got to learn a lot of things, and obviously get a taste of what big time athletics, how that runs.
Did you ever attend the University of Michigan?
I did not. I did not. I lived in Ann Arbor for a while. When I was coaching at Adrian, I lived there the entire time, and so always very familiar with Ann Arbor, and it's a great area and great college town.
Can you talk about your experience so far as Virginia Tech's lacrosse coach?
Yeah, my experience here has been pretty awesome. I think that I've been lucky enough to be here at a great institution at a great time. Obviously I came into a program, and very, very rarely do you come into a program where you're following up, a really good situation. Typically when they're making a coaching change, they're looking for something new. And so I was a part of, I guess, them looking for something new. And so I got to Virginia Tech, and had an opportunity to take over this program and kind of, do it my way, which I think was really important to me. I had an administration that was, fully supportive. And again, I think there were times where we were really, I can say that it was a little hectic in the beginning, but I think we're starting to, catch up. I think that, like I said, the timing in this was perfect. There were certain key things that obviously have happened in my career since I've been here. The recruiting rule has changed, which has really helped us. We were able to recruit kids basically from the 8th grade, and the NCAA changed that. So, now we can't recruit them until their junior year. And that happened for like the 2020 class that just came here. So our freshman class. So it really got us an opportunity to catch up to the rest of our conference in recruiting. I think we've had some really, like I said, some fortunate things happen to our program. Even with this COVID situation, I think it's given us an opportunity to kind of, stop our program up for a little bit and kind of reassess and figure out, how to move forward. It's been great because, we haven't been on the road. So we've been probably with our team the most, without having any distractions. So I know some people look at COVID as being, the pause in our sport as being a negative, but we kind of look at it as the positive as being one of the great restarts for us. And hopefully, this post-COVID, what does our program look like? And I really think that we've positioned ourselves to get somewhere strong and really used our time wisely, which I think is the most important thing. But, we've been able to take Tech to a different level. We've been able to keep them nationally ranked for the last, I guess 4 years that I've been here, which I think has been pretty awesome. We've been able to recruit really great kids, and I think the transformation has been a lot of fun. It's been a little bit different because, most of the schools I've started coaching at, usually I was the ground floor. So, we were digging the foundation and making it and building it up, where here, I'm more of the, having to reconstruct something that was already built. And, but we're slowly putting our fingerprints on everything and leaving kind of our feeling and how we want to do it, and kind of putting our flair on this program.
Can you talk about personally what the difference is between coaching in the ACC and then the Big Ten?
Yeah, I mean, I think just coaching in the ACC is so challenging. You've got historically, the top teams in the country, I think I heard some crazy stat, like the last 20 some odd years or 30 years, like an ACC team has been in the Final Four. When every team in your conference is ranked, in the top 20, when there's no easy games. And I think that's all of the sports in our, a lot of the Olympic sports. But I think, just coaching in this conference and having such a pedigree of great programs, and not saying that the Big Ten, the Big Ten is obviously, very, very successful too. But I think that having the ACC, just the historic, powerhouse that they've been in women's lacrosse, I think has been really great for us. So it's challenging. I mean, there's no easy games, I guess that's the fun part. But and every time you win one, I mean, I think it's like, it's a big relief, because you don't know when you're going to, when the next one's going to come. So, yeah.
Can you talk about the 2018 season and how amazing that was for y'all?
Yeah, the 2018 season was fun. I mean, that was I think, we really it allowed us to get to where we wanted to get to and get the program. We had a bunch of kids who were hungry. They were sophomores when the change happened, or they finished their sophomore season. And then, when I got there, I had a good group for 2 years where I could really invest time into them. And now, I think that kind of, that was the catalyst for change. And that's what kind of, vaulted us up to where we are now. I think that, coming off of 2018 and, 2019, we missed the NCAA tournament by a game because we finished under 500, but, we were a couple goals away from getting there. But, I think the 18 team really taught us a lot and taught this program a lot of how much, when kids really care for each other and want to, do something, they can accomplish it. And, we had some ups and downs in that season. We really learned a lot that kind of move us forward right now. They've really left their impression on this team, that group of seniors. We were really, really lucky to have that senior class who stuck with it through the change. Change is never easy, especially now. Like nowadays, there's this thing called the transfer portal where every kid can just jump in it whenever, if it's not looking like their way. But I think we were able to really, start working on our culture. In the first year, it was such a blur, right? Like it's 17. It's just hang on, see what we got, can we compete? Where are we at? And I got a pretty good feeling for it. And then 18, it was like, really, let's get to where we need to get to. Let's get to a point where we can build our culture, and I think that's what we've really been focusing on is our culture for the last couple of years and getting ourselves so that, when it gets tough, that we can lean on our foundation. And that's what we talk about.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you have built for the women's program?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certain things that we really lean on, and one, it's to have each other's back, to support each other through whatever we're going through. I think that's the biggest thing. To put your team first and knowing why you're doing something is for others. We talk about discipline a lot. Like you need to be disciplined in what we do, and especially now, and where we are with the world with COVID and whatnot, we've got to make sure our kids are really disciplined right now. But I think the biggest thing for us is getting our, is really just the care that we have for each other and the support, and knowing why you do this, knowing that, it's much bigger than you. And I think their kids have finally, they've realized that, a lot of these kids who come here are great high school players who played at top programs, and they understand, in order for us to get to where we want to get to, we got to put that aside and kind of all pull together in the same direction. And that also means that they're coming and they gotta, as much as sometimes they don't, really know why I'm saying something, they've got to trust it. And I think that's super important for us.
What is the recruitment process like, and what do you look for in players?
Yeah, I mean, I think the recruitment process has changed a lot now. Prior it was, we were able to see them play with their high schools or their club teams. And, obviously we're looking for kids who, have it. And what that it is a lot of different things. It could be that grit we see on the field, or that hustle, or sometimes the intangibles. I mean, I think that for us, we always talk about finding the right kid, not necessarily, I mean, obviously the best kid is, 80% the right kid. But, sometimes that best kid doesn't fit into our culture, and they're not selfless, or they're not, they don't really fit into what we see, and their values are different than ours. But I think all in all, like our biggest thing that we find is, we want to find game changers, and we want to find kids who are, are passionate about the game, who love it, and, wake up in the morning and think about it, wake up, go to sleep and they're thinking about it. I think those are the types of kids that we really want to surround ourselves with, because it really helps change, what we're trying to do.
Can you talk about what a typical official visit would look like for lacrosse before COVID?
Yeah, I mean, when we would bring kids in, I mean, it was nice because usually we do it in the fall because the spring we're pretty busy. And Blacksburg is a pretty awesome town on the weekends. When you have college football rolling, and it's hard to not go into Lane Stadium and fall in love and be a part of the atmosphere of Blacksburg. I think is a pretty strong area. I think that we definitely would spend some time with the team, spend some time with the kids and their families. But I think more than anything, it's for that student athlete to see, is this their home? Is this a place that, when we talk to them in the recruiting period, is that if you come to Virginia Tech, like this, it's more than just, lacrosse. There's all these other great sports and all these other in this great town and great people. And can you see yourself having this a part of your history, as you grow up, when you're 40 years old, can you come back and be a part of what we're trying to do? And I think that's really important for us.
Do they get to try on the jerseys at Virginia Tech on the official visit?
Yeah, I think everyone does that now. I think that's the norm. I think when they get to put it on for the first time and, put that Virginia Tech, across their chest and be able to, see themselves and kind of see their future. I think it's a pretty special moment. But I think, it's definitely something that the kids, I guess it's a highlight of the trip when they come down for their visits to be able to try some of the gear on.
What advice would you give upcoming lacrosse players looking to play in college?
I think right now it's probably like, get out and, get to tournaments, keep playing. Obviously, with the NCAA pushing this dead period for Division I sports, really film is crucial for us. I think, just being diligent is really important. I think for most kids, because we can't see them, I mean, this is, day in and day out, like this is a great opportunity to work on their craft and get better at the little things. And so that when we do get to see them, that we can really, make great evaluations. And even though we're limited, not being able to go on the road, like, our staff is still doing their job and they're still grinding away. And we're trying to look for the next future Hokies. And it's just a lot harder for us. And so, but I think for those kids, like if they can, be diligent in what they do, they're going to find a home. I mean, I know recruiting is probably the biggest thing. And that's the thing that, it makes your job as a coach a lot easier if you're a great recruiter. And so hopefully we can continue down that path and just keep improving each recruiting class we bring in.
That's wonderful. What advice would you give upcoming college coaches looking to get into the industry?
Be patient. I think that's one thing. Is I think a lot of people who want to get in want to just like get to the top as fast as they can. And I used to be like that. And what I didn't know, you don't know what you don't know is the saying that everyone says. And, I remember back when I was in high school, coaching in high school, I would be like, I could do what these college coaches do. And there was no way, the stuff that I deal with every day. And I always say, like, there's nothing more, I've been coaching for 20 plus years. And every year I'm like, there's nothing more these kids can do that I would know what to deal with. And every year there's something new that I'm like, how did we push the envelope that far? But I guess, for anyone that's trying to get into the job, it's like, be willing to do anything. I know my first job's like, I didn't do it because I got paid. I did it because I love the sport. And I was lucky enough to work hard and get opportunities, and doors would open. And I think, making the right moves and not, and being able to prove yourself, I think is really, really important. Creating sustainable success. That's really important as a coach. If you just keep jumping from job to job, like you're never going to, I think that's hard to get anywhere, versus like being able to look back and say, okay, like, what have I built here? What have I done as an assistant or as a head coach? But I think, for my advice for people who want to get into the game is, be patient, do it because you love it. Do it because that's what's going to wake you up in the morning, and that's what's going to help you, get through the tough days. and understand that, it takes a while to be ready. Everyone thinks they can just get to the top, and I thought that too. And I can tell you that without all my previous stops, like I wouldn't be ready. I wouldn't be ready to do what I'm doing here. I wouldn't be ready to think the way I think, and to make the calls that I have to make. But I think it's really, really important for most young, most of these guys that are getting into the game, or gals that are getting in the game, they're pretty young. So, be patient. It's hard. It's a hard profession, but it's super rewarding when because you can see it. You can look back and see the kids who graduate and what they've done for you, what they've done in their lives, and you can see, obviously the wins and losses every year, and hopefully you have more wins than losses, and that's super important. And yeah.
Where can my listeners find you at on social media, along with Virginia Tech Lacrosse?
They can find me. Man, I'm not super good on social media. I wish I was a little bit better, but I think it's like you can find me on Twitter, Instagram. But I'll tell you, like, if you want to follow us, the best place to follow us is our Instagram, our college Instagram. Hokies W Lax, which is or Hokies Lax, sorry, I think is what it is now. But that's the best place. You can really see the inside of our program, and we have a great staff. In our social media presence, they do a really great job, and I think that's probably the best way to see the interaction and kind of stuff that's a little more relevant. My Twitter feed is probably just more based on me playing golf and hanging out, I guess. But yeah, that's our Hokies Lax feed is probably the best way, where you're going to get to see like the ins and outs of what we do, and the kids that we recruit. They're all very similar, and so I think that's super important for our culture and what we do.
Thank you again, John, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with Virginia Tech.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, John, for your interview, and best of luck at Virginia Tech.
Thanks.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.